I shot him 6 times!
What's going on, horror fanatics? Welcome to
I shot him 6 times!
YouTube Horror Movie Channel. As you know, I'm your host and creator of the channel, Marcus. If you have not done so already, please shoot this video a like. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm a ton. As well as if you're a new viewer to this channel, please shoot that subscribe button as well as that notification icon so you get all the latest content updates to the channel. As well as if you'd like to become a member to the channel, shoot over to the channel dashboard, shoot that join button and choose what level membership best works for you. Okay everyone, in this video I will be talking about Randy Meeks, the iconic high schooler friend and love slave of Sidney Prescott, who gave us the rules in order to successfully survive a horror movie, who was surprisingly and unfortunately killed off in Scream 2 by Billy Loomis's mother Nancy. Randy also was paid tribute in Scream 5 and 6 with a mural and photos in his sister Martha's house and his Bradley video store shirt in the shrine respectively. However, that is not the only Randy Meeks Easter egg in the film. Now, 2 weeks ago I did a video discussing how in Richie Kirsch's fan-made stab film, you can hear dialogue from Casey Becker's opening scene from the actual Scream film that would not be said in the stab movie dialogue, as well as hearing Stu Macher in the fan film saying his iconic mom and dad line. Both of these pieces of dialogue are something only someone who was there in these instances back in 1996 would know about, as the only way Richie would know such dialogue is if someone who was actually there told him about it. Now, I never heard no one else mention this, but after going back, I can say we can now add a piece of Randy Meeks' dialogue to the list of what seems to be many pieces of dialogue from the original Scream film that we did not hear in the stab film that showed up in Richie's fan film, as when Samantha and Tara are trying to get away from Ghostface in the shrine, you hear the piece of dialogue ring out as the film is playing. I will play it here twice on maximum value so you guys can catch it. Okay, so if you did catch it, you can hear the line "because everybody's a suspect" being said in Richie's fan film dialogue, which was said by Randy in the video store while talking to Stu Macher about Billy Loomis being the killer. Just like the Stu Macher and Casey Becker dialogue in Richie's film, this dialogue would only be heard and later mentioned by someone who was actually there in the video store with Randy, as we never saw any scene with Randy from the stab films that suggests that piece of dialogue was in the film. And as I mentioned in my video about Stu and Casey's actual dialogue from 1996 being heard in Richie's film, Casey's dialogue from Scream is different than the one that we hear in Stab's depiction of her scene, further proving, in my opinion, these actual pieces of dialogue from Stu, Casey, and now Randy from Scream 1996 were given to Richie from someone who was actually there in these moments. And in all three of these pieces of dialogue, Stu Macher and Billy Loomis are involved with each. However, Billy Loomis is dead after being shot in the head in Scream 1996, meaning only Stu Macher would be the only one to tell Richie any of this dialogue to place in his movie, further strengthening the theory that he is indeed alive and could have been involved with Richie as leader of the Stab subreddit and possible Ghostface cult. However, when it comes to the video store scene with Randy, Stu and Billy weren't the only ones who heard Randy say this piece of dialogue. In fact, the entire video store did. But there's one other person, or person of interest I should say, that also could have told Richie Kirsch about these pieces of dialogue. That person could be Christina Carpenter. Now, there have been many to speculate that the girl in the middle of this photo we see from the video store talking to Billy could possibly be Christina Carpenter, ever since Scream 5 came out. And though this character wasn't intended by Wes Craven, and Radio Silence themselves has said her character wasn't in the original Scream film, this is something that could either be retconned or something they're just keeping secret in terms of how they plan on introducing the character if they ever do, and tie her into the OG film as well as today's story and timeline. Now personally, I don't believe this is Christina Carpenter in this scene, but it's not impossible to think Radio Silence saw this scene with Billy talking to these two girls and decided to make a new character out of one of them. Most likely the one in the middle, because she seems more engaged with Billy front and center, and just decided that they could turn this character and create a new one and make it Christina Carpenter. And if the character is ever introduced in Scream 7, maybe we get a flashback scene or some dialogue about her and Billy met. Maybe they met at the video store, and this scene could be what Radio Silence uses for that. We know Christina loves horror, as was told at the beginning of Scream 5 in the dialogue between Ghostface and Tara, and Billy was talking to these girls in the horror section, so it would tie in nicely in my opinion. There has also been speculation that Christina Carpenter could be working with Stu Macher as a mastermind Ghostface if it is revealed he's alive and if she's introduced in the next Scream film. And though I'm not on board with the theory, if the character does arrive in Scream 7 and we get any confirmation she was around to hear any of these pieces of dialogue I talked about in these two videos, or that she is the girl in the video store talking to Billy Loomis, then that theory could definitely be more than just a theory in the end of it all. The point is though, everyone, we now have three characters from the original Scream film whose dialogue ended up in Richie Kirsch's fan-made Stab film, and only adds fuel to the fire that whoever gave him this dialogue to use for the fan film has to be someone from the original Scream film, but most importantly, an actual person from Woodsboro who would have been present the time said pieces of dialogue were spoken. But okay everyone, that is it for this video. Leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts on me finding Randy's dialogue in Richie's fan film. Does this further prove to you that Richie was getting mentorship from someone from Woodsboro who happened to be present the time these moments took place and these pieces of dialogue were spoken in Scream 1996? Once again, this is
I shot him 6 times!
YouTube Horror Movie Channel. I'm your host and creator of the channel, Marcus. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. Thank you all for watching.